Hey YouTube, doing a video here on how to recycle or mulch for a proper mulch, I guess you could say. Got some comments about some people saying they couldn't get a good mulch out of their mower. There's some certain kind of things that you can do, some practices to get a good mulch. I know, even talking with people in my neighborhood, some guys said that they, had a lot of problems with clumping up and things like that. And it's not really the machine that they were using, it was just the way that they were using the machine. So just wanted to offer some tips here. Now this is the Toro recycler, and also I got a Toro super recycler. No, this is the recycler, that's the super recycler. But I'm not sponsored by Toro or anything. These are just the mowers that I have. I also have some Hondas and stuff like that, but I'm not showing them here. It's not really the purpose to do a comparison video. It's just more to talk about what to do as far as the mower setup and the cutting itself. So with that, this Toro recycler is a pretty good mulching mower. I did actually do a review talking about these two mowers previously. This particular mower, this recycler, which there's a newer deck version of the recycler, I used one of those, and I actually think that this style works better. The other one seemed to leave a streak more so on that side, and I noticed that the deck itself, is made different. This is the original kind of recycling deck with this, what they call this donut design. It's like got this extra hump in here. That's not like that on the super recycler. And I'm going to put a little link to a video that comes from Toro talking about, gives a little animation about how the clippings get circulated in there and cut up. So basically, when you cut the clipping, then it has to circulate around in here and get recut. And that's the whole purpose of that. So things that you need to do to get that done right. First off, you have to have a mower deck that's clean, and I talked about that in one of my videos, talking about just maintenance, general maintenance of getting under your mower and making sure that there's not anything in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip these mowers up, and you can take a look at the underside. Okay, so here we have the underside of the mower. Now this is just a little side tip. I always tip with your carb side up when you tip the mower, or else you'll flood it out with oil. Okay, so now under here, this deck is, it's got a little buildup, but pretty clean in here. Okay, if there was clumps of grass packed up in here, basically you have to cut here. We're looking at this upside down, so it's a little hard, but the grass is going to get cut here. It's going to get flipped up here into this area here, circulated around, and as this comes around, this is going to shred it up again. It's going to hit off of here and try to knock itself back in, and basically, it's almost like a blender or a food processor or something. And with that being said, another thing they have to take into account is that how high your grass is. If your grass is really, really high and you're trying to mulch like 2 inches worth, versus if your grass is only an inch high, or an inch that you're cutting off, you're going to have less material in here. You're going to have a lot better flow because you're going to have more air, more circulation, so you're going to be able to cut that. If you really jam that in there with a lot of material, you're not going to get as good a mulch. So that's one thing to do. Not cut the grass if it's really high and expect to get a proper mulch. If it's really high, you might cut it and it might leave some streaks or something like that just because it's too high. So you could come back and cut it again the next time around in a different direction. Try to suck up those extra pieces and recut it. So the other thing is, this is a new blade. You want to have a sharp blade. That's just general practice, irregardless whether you have a mulching mower, you're bagging or whatever. Sharp blade. Okay, this is clean. And speaking about, I said somebody I knew was having problems. Well, I was taking note of when they were cutting their grass, and they were always cutting their grass on Saturday mornings at 10 in the morning. And usually around here, with the dew and everything, that grass is wet. If your grass is wet, you're not going to be able to mulch because it's going to stick. It's either going to stick in here, or it's just not going to, obviously if you have think about a powder in your hand or something that's dry and you blow it, it's going to blow all over. If you wet that, it's going to be one big clump. Okay, it's not going to circulate, and it's not going to cut, and it's also going to stick to stuff. So it's going to stick in areas on the mower. It's going to, cake this up. Eventually, that wet mulch will just start getting all accumulated in here, and you won't be able to flow that those cuttings anymore to get a mulch. Okay, on this mower here, this is the super recycler, and I said I'll show that in the animation here from Toro, but it uses these little kickers to kick the grass back out. This is a different design than the other one. This has this sort of fan type blade to blow the clippings back down. So irregardless whether you're using this kind of mower, a Honda mower, or any other mower, if this is all caked up, if your grass is wet, if it's too high, and you're cutting at a really fast speed, those are all things that are going against you, and your blade is not good. Okay, so those are the things that I would say that you can control. Have a sharp blade. This is clean. Your grass is not wet. You're not cutting too fast. What do I mean by cutting too fast? Well, it has to cut, and you have to give it enough time to recut. So you can't just say, hey, if this is the pace I use when I bag or side discharge, I can keep going at the same pace. You're probably going to have to go a little bit slower on your forward speed. But you'll know. I mean, if you're going too fast and stuff is blowing out, well, then you're going too fast. So with that said, I'm going to take a couple cuts out here. Okay, let me get a measurement on this height of grass. Okay, well, we're approximately around maybe 4 inches, and I'm cutting at about 3. So I'm not overloading this. This should mulch pretty well. I've let it dry out. It's not wet. So this is really optimum conditions. No real discernible pieces here. Generally pretty nice. And also too, you see the blade is sharp. There's no tore ends off. Nice clean cuts. So yeah, you want to get a nice mulch, just follow those couple tips. Don't overload your mower. Make sure it's clean, cut when it's dry, and go at a comfortable pace. You can see about the pace I was going at. I did slow down. You could hear the motor when it hit some heavier stuff, you know, it would rev up a little bit. So when you get into some heavier stuff, you slow yourself down. If you get in an area where it's not too high, you know, you can make that that speed change. So okay, hope this helps you out, and if you have any other questions or tips on mulching, let me know.